The smell hits first. Leather and something sharper, like metal left in the rain. Hands grip his elbows, not rough but firm enough to mean he can't turn around. The noise comes next, a low hum of voices folding over each other. Too many people in a space that shouldn't hold them all. His feet drag against polished floor, squeaking with each forced step. Keep moving. The voice behind him is female, clipped, professional, like she's delivering a package, not a person. He tries to pull his arm free. The grip tightens. Around him, the crowd parts without looking directly at him. I slide past like he's made of glass they might crack. Someone coughs. A child whimpers and gets shushed. The air tastes like expensive cologne and sweat trying to hide under it. His heartbeat climbs into his throat, pounds there until breathing feels like swallowing rocks. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not today. Not to him. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. They steer him left, through a hallway that narrows like a closing fist. The walls here are darker, wood paneling instead of paint. No windows, just sconces throwing yellow light that makes shadows move when they shouldn't. His shoes, second-hand sneakers with the laces fraying, look ridiculous against the carpet runner, thick enough to muffle sound. Almost there, the woman says, like that's supposed to comfort him. His chest tightens. Almost where? The door appears at the end of the hall, massive and carved with patterns he can't make sense of. It's closed. Behind it, silence, the kind that feels deliberate, chosen. The woman reaches past him, knocks twice. Sharp, even sounds that echo. No answer. She knocks again. This time, something shifts on the other side. Not footsteps, just presence like pressure changing before a storm. The handle turns. The door swings inward, revealing nothing but darkness beyond the threshold. Go on, she says. He shakes his head. Can't. Won't. His voice sits locked behind his teeth, useless as always. The woman's hand finds the center of his back. Not shoving. Just insistent. You're expected. Expected by who? For what? The questions pile up with nowhere to go. He's never been expected anywhere that mattered. The foster system taught him that early. You're a name on a form, a bed that needs filling, a problem that needs managing. You don't get invited into rooms with doors this heavy. The pressure on his back increases. He steps forward. The door closes behind him with a sound like a vault ceiling. Darkness swallows everything. His eyes scramble for shapes, for outlines, for anything. Slowly, the room reveals itself in pieces. A desk enormous, bare except for a single lamp not turned on. Shelves climbing the walls, filled with books that look old enough to crumble. A window on the far side, curtains drawn, letting in only a razor-thin line of gray light. And a chair, high-backed, facing away from him. Someone's sitting in it. His lungs forget how to work. Come closer. The voice is male, quiet, but it fills the space anyway. Not loud, just certain. His feet don't move. Can't. The floor feels like quicksand. I won't repeat myself. The chair turns. The man sitting there doesn't match the voice. Too young, maybe late 20s, with a face that could sell watches or cologne or anything else that costs more than rent. Sharp jaw, dark hair pushed back. Eyes that catch what little light there is and hold it. He's dressed like the room, expensive, deliberate, nothing out of place. But it's the way he looks that stops breath. Not angry, not kind, just assessing, like he's reading a report and finding errors. Do you know why you're here? The man asks. He shakes his head. Use your words. Heat floods his face. Shame, sharp and familiar. His mouth opens. Nothing comes out. It never does. Not when it matters. Not since. The man's expression doesn't change. I see. He leans back, fingers steepled. They told me you were difficult. Difficult. The word lands like a slap. He's heard it before, written in margins of files he wasn't supposed to read. Difficult means non-compliant. Means broken in ways that aren't worth fixing. Means the kind of problem that gets shuffled from place to place until someone finally gives up. But difficult isn't the same as incapable. The man stands, smooth and unhurried. He's tall, taller than seemed possible sitting down. I'm going to ask you a question. You don't need to speak to answer. Just nod or shake your head. Understood. He nods. Good. The man moves around the desk, each step measured. He stops just close enough to matter, just far enough to leave space. Did you agree to come here? His hands curl into fists. No. He didn't agree to anything. They came for him during the morning shift change at the group home, when the staff was distracted and the other kids were still eating breakfast. Told him to pack a bag. Told him it was temporary. Told him nothing that made sense. He shakes his head. That's what I thought. The man's jaw tightens just barely. And did they explain what this meeting is about? Another shake. Of course they didn't. Something shifts in his voice. Not anger, but something close, controlled. You're here because someone made a mistake, a significant one, and now I have to decide what to do about it. The words don't connect to anything. What mistake? What decision? His pulse hammers in his wrists, his neck, behind his eyes. The man reaches into his jacket pocket, pulls out a phone. The screen lights up his face from below, casting shadows that make him look older, harder. He scrolls through something, reading. His expression goes carefully blank. Tell me, he says, not looking up, do you know a child named DeShawn? 6 years old. Transferred to the Briarcliff Center 3 weeks ago. DeShawn. The name hits like cold water. Little kid with asthma and a stuffed elephant he wouldn't let go of. Cried every night for the first week, then went quiet in the bad way. The way that means giving up. He nods. And did you spend time with him? Help him adjust? Yes. Someone had to. The staff didn't have time and the older kids didn't care. So he sat with DeShawn during the hard nights. Showed him where the bathroom was. Made sure the bigger kids didn't take his elephant. Basic things. Human things. He nods again. The man finally looks up. His eyes are green. Cold green like winter grass. That was a problem. The room tilts. You weren't supposed to be noticed. You were supposed to stay invisible. Forgettable. But instead you made an impression. On DeShawn. On the staff. On people who started asking questions. He slides the phone back into his pocket. And when people ask questions about you, they find things. Things that complicate situations. His throat closes. Complicates what? He hasn't done anything. He's been careful. Kept his head down. Followed every rule, spoken or not. I'm not blaming you, the man continues. You didn't know. But ignorance doesn't change consequences. The door behind him opens. He spins around, heart slamming. The woman from before stands there, but she's not alone. 2 more figures fill the hallway beyond her. Men, both identical to the one in the room. Same face, same build, same eyes. 3 of them. His vision swims. The room shrinks, air thinning to nothing. This isn't possible. People don't just, they can't. Meet my brothers. The man says from behind him, voice flat. We need to discuss what happens next. The identical faces stare at him from 3 different positions, surrounding him like points on a compass. None of them smile. None of them move. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a memory surfaces. Something he heard once in the group home kitchen, whispered between staff who thought no one was listening. The triplet alphas. The ones who own half the city without anyone seeing their faces. The ones who disappear problems. The door swings shut. He's alone with all 3 of them. What do you think happens when invisible people become visible to the wrong eyes? The chair scrapes against the floor when they tell him to sit. He doesn't want to, but his legs give out anyway, folding him down into cracked vinyl that squeaks under his weight. The 3 of them don't sit. They stand in a triangle around him. One at the desk, one by the window, one blocking the door. The one from before, the first one he saw, leans against the desk with his arms crossed. My name is Thane, he says. This is Oryx. He nods toward the window. And Mailer, the one at the door. The names sound expensive. Foreign. Nothing like the ones shouted across the group home during dinner or lights out. Oryx moves first, pushing off from the window with a smile that doesn't reach anywhere near his eyes. "You're scared," he says, like he's commenting on the weather. "That's reasonable. But you should know we're not here to hurt you." The words mean nothing. People who don't want to hurt you don't corner you in locked rooms. Mailer hasn't spoken yet. He just watches, spine straight, hands clasped in front of him like he's attending a funeral. His version of the shared face is the coldest, all sharp angles and no give. "We need to understand something first," Thane says. "How much do you know about where you came from?" The question makes no sense. He came from the system. Everyone in the group home came from somewhere broken. Parents who couldn't keep them, parents who shouldn't have had them, parents who disappeared into jails or graves or just into the air. His story isn't special. He shrugs. "That's not an answer," Mailer says. First words low and clipped. Thane holds up a hand. "He can't speak, Mailer. We established that." "Can't or won't?" Mailer's eyes narrow. "Does it matter?" Oryx moves closer, circling behind the chair. "Look at him. He's terrified. You think he's playing games?" The air between them tightens. Some argument happening in silence, in looks. He keeps his hands pressed flat on his thighs, nails digging through denim into skin. Grounding. Real. Thane exhales through his nose. "Your file says you were found at 6 months old, abandoned at a fire station in Newark. No name, no note. They called you Baby Doe until the state assigned you something official." He pauses. "Do you remember anything before the system? Before?" There is no before. His earliest memory is being 4, maybe 5, sitting in a social worker's car while she filled out paperwork. Everything prior is just fog. He shakes his head. "Convenient," Mailer mutters. "It's not convenient," Thane snaps. "It's intentional. Someone made sure he wouldn't remember." Oryx stops pacing. "You're certain?" "Look at the medical records. Trauma markers consistent with sedation. Gaps in developmental milestones. And the muteness." Thane's jaw works. "That doesn't happen naturally at that age." The words drop like stones into water, spreading ripples he can't catch. Sedation? Trauma? They're talking about him like he's evidence. "Then it's confirmed," Mailer says. "He's the contingency." Contingency. The word tastes wrong, clinical, like something planned for, prepared against. Thane straightens. "We don't know that for sure. Don't we?" Mailer steps forward into the light. The timeline matches. The placement matches. And now he's surfacing at exactly the wrong moment. Surfacing. Oryx laughs, bitter. "He helped a kid with a stuffed animal. That's not surfacing. That's basic decency." "Which drew attention," Mailer counters. "Attention we spent 15 years making sure he wouldn't get." The conversation spins around him, through him, without him. His throat burns with questions that have nowhere to go. What timeline? What placement? Why does helping a scared kid make him dangerous? Thane pushes off the desk, moves to the window, pulls the curtain aside. Gray light spills in, cutting across the floor between them. "He deserves to know. He deserves safety," Mailer says. "Knowledge complicates that." "He's already complicated." Oryx crouches in front of the chair, eye level now. Up close, his face is almost kind. Almost. "Listen, I'm going to tell you something and you're going to want to run. Don't. There's nowhere to go that we won't find you, and running will only make this harder." His heart kicks into his ribs. "You weren't abandoned," Oryx says quietly. "You were hidden. On purpose. By people who thought they were protecting you." The room goes liquid. Walls bending. Floor dropping. "There was a situation. Before you were born. Power changed hands. Violently. People died. Others disappeared. And in the chaos, someone decided a child, a specific child, needed to be removed from the equation." Oryx's eyes search his face. "That child was you." "No, that's insane. He's nobody. A kid who aged out of the system with nothing but a garbage bag of clothes and a bus voucher. There's no power, no equation, just survival." He shakes his head hard enough to hurt. I know it sounds impossible, Oryx continues, but the blood test doesn't lie. You're connected to us. Distantly, but legally enough to matter. Connected. The word rewrites everything. These men, these triplets who move through the world like they own it, are saying he belongs to something. To them. Kaine turns from the window. You were never supposed to integrate back. The plan was to keep you contained, invisible until the threat passed. But threats don't pass. They evolve. And now you're a problem, Mailer finishes. Not because of who you are. Because of who might use you. The pieces don't fit. Won't fit. He's useless to anyone with real power. He can't speak. Can't advocate. Can barely fill out a job application without help. Oryx stands, brushing dust off his knees. You don't see it yet, but others will. The moment your face connects to our name, you become leverage. A weak point. Something to exploit. So what are you saying? Kaine asks, but he's not looking at Oryx. He's looking at Mailer. Mailer's expression doesn't shift. I'm saying we relocate him. Properly this time. Somewhere monitored. You mean controlled, Oryx says. I mean safe. Same thing, Kaine mutters. The argument builds again, voices rising just enough to echo. He stops listening. Stops trying to understand. Because underneath all the words, one truth is obvious. They're not asking what he wants. They're deciding for him, like the social workers, like the foster parents who sent him back, like every adult who ever looked at his file and saw a burden instead of a person. His hands shake. He presses them harder into his legs until the shaking moves inward, into his chest, his lungs. We vote, Mailer says suddenly. Standard protocol. Kaine's shoulders drop. This isn't a business decision. Everything is a business decision. Mailer pulls out his phone, thumbs moving. I'm calling it now. Relocation to the northern facility. Full oversight. No contact with prior placements. You can't be serious, Oryx says. I'm always serious. Mailer looks up. Kaine? Kaine stares at him. At the boy in the chair who can't defend himself, can't argue, can't even scream. Something passes across his face. Regret, maybe. Or exhaustion. I need time, Kaine says finally. We don't have time, Mailer counters. The Briarcliff incident already triggered flags. If we don't move now, then give me 48 hours. Kaine's voice hardens. 2 days to verify the details. To make sure we're not creating a bigger problem by overreacting. Mailer and Oryx exchange looks. Some silent conversation happening in the language of siblings who've shared everything since birth. Fine, Mailer says. 48 hours. But he doesn't leave supervision. Agreed, Oryx adds. Kaine nods. Turns back to him. You'll stay here. In this building. Someone will bring your things from the group home. You'll have a room, food, anything you need. But you can't leave. Not yet. Here. This place that smells like money and secrets. This place with 3 identical men who talk about him like he's a chess piece. He wants to say no. Wants to stand up and walk out and disappear into the city where no one knows his name or his blood or his past. But his body won't move. And Kaine seems to understand. I know you're scared, but I promise you, we're not your enemies. The door opens. The woman from before enters with a nod. Room's ready. Kaine gestures. Go with her. Get some rest. We'll talk more tomorrow. He stands on legs that barely hold. Follows the woman out, feeling 3 sets of eyes on his back. The hallway swallows him whole. But just before the door closes, he hears Oryx say, "This is going to end badly." And Mailer's reply, "It already has. Have you ever discovered something about yourself that made you wish you'd stayed invisible?" The room they give him has a bed big enough for 3 people. White sheets pulled tight, corners tucked like in hotels he's seen on TV. A dresser with brass handles. A lamp that actually works. And a window locked he checks immediately that looks out over a courtyard he didn't know existed. He sits on the edge of the bed. It doesn't creak. Expensive silence. The woman who brought him here, she said her name was Renata, left a bag by the door. His things from the group home. He doesn't open it. Already knows what's inside. 2 shirts, 1 pair of jeans with the knee blown out, socks that don't match, a toothbrush wrapped in a gas station receipt. His whole life fits in a plastic grocery bag. The lock on the door clicks from the outside. He closes his eyes, breathes through his nose, counts to 10. A trick the school counselor taught him years ago, back when she still thought techniques might help. Somewhere below, voices murmur. Footsteps. A door closing. The building has a heartbeat, slow, steady, controlled. He lies back, stares at the ceiling. It's smooth. No water stains or cracks. No patterns to trace while falling asleep. Just blank white space. Time moves wrong here. Could be minutes. Could be hours. The light through the window shifts from gray to darker gray. No one comes. No one checks on him. He's alone in a way that feels deliberate. The hunger starts around what might be evening. His stomach clenches, growls. He sits up, considers knocking on the door, asking for food. But his hand hovers over the wood, doesn't connect. Asking means expecting an answer. He's learned not to expect those. Instead, he goes to the window, presses his forehead against the glass. Cool. Real. The courtyard below is empty except for a fountain in the center, water frozen mid-arc, stone benches, trimmed hedges, everything designed, nothing wild. Movement catches his eye. A door opens on the ground level. Kaine steps out, phone pressed to his ear. Even from up here, his frustration is obvious. The set of his shoulders, the sharp gestures. He's arguing with someone. Kaine stops walking, looks up, directly at the window, directly at him. For 3 seconds, they stare at each other across the distance. Then Kaine says something into the phone and hangs up. He doesn't wave, doesn't smile, just watches. Then he disappears back inside. The door to the room unlocks, swings open. Renata enters carrying a tray. "You didn't eat earlier," she says, not unkindly. "Thought you might be hungry." She sets the tray on the dresser. A sandwich, chips, bottled water. Simple food. The kind that doesn't require utensils or trust. "Thank you," he tries to say. His mouth shapes the words. No sound comes. She doesn't react like most people do, with pity or discomfort. Just nods. "There's a bathroom through that door if you need it. Towels in the cabinet. I'll be back in the morning." She leaves. The lock clicks again. He eats standing up, too wired to sit. The sandwich tastes like nothing, but he finishes it anyway. Drinks half the water. Saves the rest. Night falls completely. The courtyard lights flicker on, cold and blue. He pulls the curtains closed, sealing himself in. Sleep doesn't come easy. Every sound makes him tense. Footsteps in the hall, pipes groaning, wind against the window. He's used to noise, the constant chaos of the group home. This quiet is worse. Leaves too much room for thinking. By the time gray light creeps back, he's given up trying. He's sitting against the headboard, knees pulled up, when the lock turns again. Kaine enters alone this time. No Renata, no brothers, just him, dressed down in jeans and a dark sweater that makes him look almost normal. Almost. "You didn't sleep," Kaine observes. It's not a question, so he doesn't answer. Kaine crosses to the window, opens the curtains. Light floods in, harsh and exposing. "I need to show you something. Will you come with me?" The phrasing is careful. "Will you?" Not "you will." Like he's actually asking. He nods. They walk through the building in silence. Hallways branch off in directions he can't track. Everything looks the same, polished floors, dark wood, sconces. No signs, no numbers on doors. A maze designed to disorient. Kaine stops at a door identical to all the others. Pulls a key from his pocket. "This is going to be difficult," he says. "But you need to see it." The room inside is small. No windows, just a table, 2 chairs, and walls covered in photographs. Dozens of them, pinned up in rows. Some color, some black and white. Some recent, some faded. His feet stick to the floor. "Come in," Thane says gently. He forces himself forward. The photos resolve as he gets closer. Children. All of them. Different ages, different faces. But something similar in their eyes. Something hollow. "These are the others," Thane says. "The ones we've had to relocate over the years. Hidden. For their safety. Others. Plural. Like he's not the first mistake. Not the only complication." Thane points to a photo in the center. A girl, maybe 10, with braids and a gap-toothed smile that doesn't match the fear in her eyes. "Amara. We found her living in a car with her mother. Took her to a facility upstate. She's 17 now, studying engineering." Another photo. A boy with a bruised cheek and 2 old eyes. "Javon. Father was involved with a rival organization. We got him out before it turned into leverage. He's safe. Works in our accounting department." More names. More faces. A whole wall of children turned into chess pieces, moved around the board for reasons they probably never understood. "Why are you showing me this?" He doesn't have voice for the question, but Thane seems to hear it anyway. "Because I want you to understand. This isn't about control. It's about survival." Thane turns to face him fully. "Every person on this wall was a target. And every single one of them is alive because we intervened. But at what cost?" That's the question burning behind his teeth. Alive, sure. But free? Thane's expression softens. "I know what you're thinking, and you're right to question it. But the alternative is worse. Trust me." He looks back at the wall, at all those faces, wonders if any of them were given a choice, wonders if any of them said no. "There's something else," Thane says. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a folded paper, hands it over. It's a printout, medical record, his name at the top. Well, the name the state gave him, and below it, rows of information, birth weight, measurements, and a section circled in red, genetic markers. He scans the words, doesn't understand half of them. "You share DNA with the Crown family line," Thane says quietly. "That's us, his distant 3rd or 4th cousin. But in our world, that's close enough to matter. Crowned." The name sits heavy, official, dangerous. You weren't just any baby abandoned at a fire station. You were insurance. Someone's backup plan. Thane's jaw tightens. And when backup plans surface, people notice. The paper crumples in his fist. He wants to throw it, wants to scream, wants to rewind to last week when the biggest problem was making sure DeShawn remembered to take his inhaler. "I'm sorry," Thane says, and he sounds like he means it. "I know this is too much, but you needed to know why we're being cautious. Why you can't just walk out and go back to your life. Because he doesn't have a life. Not one that's his. Just a series of temporary placements and borrowed time." Thane steps closer. Close enough that he could reach out and touch. Could push. Could hit. But he does neither. Just stands there, shaking. "I want to make you an offer," Thane says. "Stay here. Voluntarily. Give me time to secure the situation. In exchange, I'll make sure you're taken care of. School if you want it. Job training. Whatever you need to build something real." Sounds too good. Everything too good is a trap. He shakes his head. "At least think about it," Thane presses. "You don't have to decide now, but you should know if you run, Mailer will send people. And they won't be as kind as me." The threat underneath the offer. Velvet over steel. He steps back. Once, twice, until his spine hits the wall and there's nowhere else to go. Thane watches him, waiting, assessing. Then, quietly, "I'm not your enemy. I know you don't believe that yet, but I will prove it." He turns to leave, pauses at the door. "Renata will bring you lunch. If you need anything, tell her. She'll relay it to me." The door closes. He's alone with the photographs, with all those faces staring at him, with the truth that he's just another one, another problem to be managed, another secret to be kept. He slides down the wall, sits on the cold floor, and lets his head fall back. The paper is still in his hand. Genetic markers. Crowned family line. He tears it in half. Then in half again. Keeps going until it's confetti scattered across his lap. It doesn't change anything. But it feels good anyway. If you had to choose between freedom and safety, which would you pick? And how long would you wait to regret it? 3 days pass before Thane comes back. 3 days of meals delivered in silence, of pacing the room until his legs ache, of staring at the locked door and imagining what would happen if he actually tried to break it down. Nothing good. That's what. On the 4th morning, the lock clicks earlier than usual. He's awake. Always awake now. Sleep coming in fractured pieces that leave him more tired than resting. Thane enters carrying a folder and looking like he hasn't slept much either. Shadows under his eyes. Collar slightly crooked. Get dressed, Thane says. You're coming with me. No explanation. No choice. Just an order delivered like it's already decided. He's wearing the same jeans from 3 days ago. The shirt he slept in. It'll have to be enough. He stands, follows Thane out into the hallway, where the morning light slants through windows he didn't know existed. They walk in silence. Downstairs. Through rooms that smell like coffee and leather. Past people in suits who nod at Thane and pretend not to see the boy trailing behind him. The car is waiting outside. Black, sleek, windows tinted dark enough to hide anything. A driver holds the door open. Thane slides in first. Gestures for him to follow. The leather seat swallows him. Too soft. Too clean. He presses against the door, as far from Thane as the space allows. We're going to the Briarcliff Center, Thane says as the car pulls away from the curb. You're going to see DeShawn. One last time. Last time. The words land wrong. Final. He shakes his head hard enough for Thane to notice. It's already decided. He's being transferred to a facility better equipped for his needs. Thane's voice stays level. Professional. This is your chance to say goodbye properly. No, DeShawn doesn't need better equipped. He needs familiar. He needs someone who doesn't flinch when he cries. He needs... I know what you're thinking, Thane interrupts. But this isn't negotiable. The transfer happens whether you see him or not. I'm offering you closure. Closure. Like that's a gift. Like watching a scared kid get shipped off to strangers is somehow kind. The city slides past outside. Blocks he recognizes, then ones he doesn't. The Briarcliff Center sits on the edge of everything. Too far from downtown to be convenient. Too close to the highway to be quiet. A squat brick building with bars on the lower windows and a playground that's more dirt than grass. The car stops. Thane doesn't move immediately. Just sits there, staring at the building like it personally offended him. I grew up in a place like this, he says finally. Different city. Same smell. Same fear. He glances over. I'm not doing this to hurt you. I'm doing it because I know what happens when kids like DeShawn fall through the cracks. The door opens. Renata is waiting outside, clipboard in hand. He's in the common room, she tells Thane. Staff has been notified. Inside, the center smells exactly how he remembers. Industrial cleaner trying to cover cooking grease and unwashed laundry. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. A TV plays in the background, volume too loud. Kids scattered across furniture, some watching the screen, most just staring at nothing. DeShawn sits in the corner, elephant clutched to his chest, rocking slightly. The boy's head snaps up when they enter. His face does something complicated, relief, then confusion, then fear when he sees Thane. It's okay, Thane says, stopping several feet back. I'm just here to drive. You two talk. Talk, right? With what voice? He crosses the room. Sits on the floor next to DeShawn because the kid hates when adults loom. DeShawn immediately leans into him, small and warm and shaking. You left, DeShawn whispers. Not accusing, just fact. He nods. Didn't want to, didn't choose it. But those details don't matter to a 6-year-old who's been abandoned too many times already. Are you coming back? The question cracks something in his chest. He wants to lie, wants to nod and smile and promise everything will be fine. But DeShawn deserves better than lies. He shakes his head slowly. DeShawn's face crumples. Tears spill fast and hot. I don't want to go to the new place. Miss Renata said it's far. He pulls DeShawn closer, lets the kid cry into his shoulder. Over DeShawn's head, he can see Thane watching from across the room. Expression unreadable. A staff member approaches. Young woman with kind eyes and a name tag that says Trinity. We need to start getting him ready, she says gently. The transport comes in an hour. An hour. 60 minutes before DeShawn gets loaded into another car, driven to another building, handed off to another set of strangers who'll try their best until they get tired. He holds tighter. Hey! Trinity crouches down. You're the one who's been helping him, right? The older boy. He nods. He talks about you. Says you're the only one who listens. She smiles sad. That's rare. Most kids here, they learn not to expect that. Most kids here learn a lot of things they shouldn't have to. Trinity stands. You've got a few more minutes. Make them count. She walks away, leaves them alone in the noise and fluorescent buzz. DeShawn pulls back, wipes his face with the elephant's ear. Will you write to me? The question is so hopeful it hurts. But he can't promise that. Can't promise anything when he doesn't even know where he'll be tomorrow. He pulls out his phone, old crack screen but functional. Opens the Notes app. Types slowly. I'll try, but you have to be brave. The new place might be better. DeShawn reads it. Doesn't look convinced. What if it's not? Then you survive it. Same as here. Same as everywhere. You find the good people and hold on. He doesn't type that part. Just holds the kid until Trinity comes back with a jacket and a backpack. Time to go, sweetheart, Trinity says. DeShawn stands on wobbly legs. Looks back at him one more time. I'm gonna remember you. The words hit like a punch. Because that's all he'll be soon. A memory. A face that fades. Another person who left. Thane appears at his elbow. We should go too. He wants to argue. Wants to grab DeShawn and run. But Renata is already guiding the boy toward the door. And Trinity is blocking his path with professional kindness. And Thane's hand is firm on his shoulder. Outside, the car is still waiting. He climbs in without being told. Feels the door shut. The engine start. The world begin moving again. They're 2 blocks away when he realizes he's crying. Silent, useless tears that do nothing but blur the city into streaks. Thane doesn't comment. Just hands him a handkerchief. Actual cloth, monogrammed, and looks out his own window. You did a good thing, Thane says after a while. Letting him say goodbye. It'll help him process. Process. Clinical word for breaking a 6-year-old's heart. I know you think I'm cruel, Thane continues. But DeShawn's transfer was already approved before you ever got involved. The only thing that changed was the timeline. I moved it up to protect him. Protect him from what? Thane turns to look at him directly. From becoming collateral. The moment people started noticing your connection to him, he became valuable. To the wrong people. He pauses. Kidnapping a child from state care is easier than you'd think. Especially when you have money and connections. The implication settles cold. DeShawn wasn't transferred for better care. He was moved to keep him safe from whoever might use him to get to. What? Him? The crowned family? His hands curl into fists. You're starting to understand, Thane says quietly. This is what I meant about visibility. Every connection you make puts people at risk. Every person you care about becomes a target. So the solution is what? Never care? Never help? Just exist in isolation. Not isolation, Thane says, reading his face. Protection. There's a difference. Is there? The car pulls up to the building, the Crown building. He started thinking of it. Home feels too generous. Thane doesn't get out immediately. Just sits there, hands folded in his lap. I'm offering you something most people in your position never get, Thane says. Choice. Stay here, let us train you, give you resources. Or leave. Take your chances in the system. Hope no one connects the dots. Some choice. Prison or a different kind of prison. But then Thane adds, if you stay, I'll make sure DeShawn's placement is monitored. Best facility. regular check-ins. He'll be safe. That's the hook. Not promises about his own future, but the one thing that matters. DeShawn's safety. Kaine knows it too. Can see it in the slight upturn of his mouth. Not quite a smile. Just acknowledgement that he's won. The door opens. Renata waits outside. Kaine exits first, then turns back. Take the rest of the day. Think about it. But I need an answer by tonight. He climbs out, follows Renata inside. Back to the room that's not his. Back to the bed that's too soft. Back to the window that doesn't open. But this time the lock doesn't click. The door stays open. And somehow that's worse. Because now the cage is invisible. Now he has to choose to stay. Kaine appears in the doorway hours later, as the sun sets. Have you decided? He's standing at the window, watching the courtyard lights flicker on. Watching his reflection in the glass. Thin boy with tired eyes and no way out. He turns, faces Kaine, nods once. Kaine's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his posture. Relief, maybe. Good, Kaine says. Then we start tomorrow. He leaves. The door stays open. And for the first time since this started, he realizes something. Kaine isn't just protecting him. Kaine is studying him. Waiting to see what he'll do with the freedom of an open door. Waiting to see if he'll run. When the cage door opens but you're too afraid to leave, are you still a prisoner? Or something worse? Morning arrives with a knock he doesn't expect. Not Renata. Not Kaine. Someone new. The man in the doorway is older, 50s maybe, with silver threading through dark hair and glasses that make him look like a lawyer. He's holding a tablet and a coffee cup that smells expensive. Good morning, he says. Professional smile. I'm Marcus Terrell. I'll be your caseworker. Caseworker. The word brings back every frustrating meeting, every file review, every adult who pretended to care while checking boxes. His shoulders tense automatically. Marcus seems to notice. I know, that word has baggage. But I'm not here to shuffle papers. I'm here to make sure you actually get what you need. He steps inside without waiting for permission. Mind if I sit? The chair by the desk. Marcus settles into it like he's done this before. Probably has. The tablet wakes with a tap, screen glowing. So, Kaine tells me you've agreed to stay. That's good. Smart even. But I need to understand what you want out of this arrangement. He looks up. And I need you to understand what we're offering. What he wants. Like that's simple. Like years of survival mode can just switch off. Marcus waits. Patient. The silence stretches until it becomes uncomfortable. Finally, he reaches for his phone. Types, DeShawn. I want updates. Proof he's okay. Marcus reads it. Nods. Already arranged. You'll get monthly reports. Photos if the facility allows it. He makes a note on the tablet. What else? School? He types slowly. The letters feel presumptuous. Absolutely. We have tutors on staff. You can do online coursework or we can arrange enrollment in a local program. Your choice. Another note. You're 17, correct? So we're looking at GED prep or maybe dual enrollment if you're interested in college. College. The word is from another language. Another life. People like him don't think about college. But Marcus is already scrolling through options. There's also vocational training. Technical skills. Whatever interests you. He pauses. Do you know what interests you? The question lands heavy. No one's asked him that before. What do you want has always been rhetorical. What do you need has always meant what's cheapest. He shakes his head. Fair enough. Most 17-year-olds don't. Marcus sets the tablet aside. Here's what's going to happen. You'll spend the next few weeks exploring options. Try things out. See what fits. No pressure. No commitment. Sounds too good. The catch has to be coming. The catch, Marcus says, reading his expression, is that you can't leave the building without supervision. Not yet. Not until Kaine clears it. There it is. I know that feels restrictive, but it's temporary. Once the situation stabilizes. He types fast, angry. What situation? No one will explain what I'm being protected from. Marcus goes quiet, considers the question. That's fair. You deserve clarity. He leans forward. The Crown family has enemies, rival organizations, people who would love to find a weakness. Right now, you're an unknown variable. If word gets out that you exist, that you're connected to the family, you become valuable. Leverage. Leverage. Same word Thane used. Like he's currency. I know how that sounds, Marcus continues. But think about it logically. You've spent your whole life invisible, forgettable. Suddenly you're connected to one of the most powerful families on the East Coast. That's not neutral. That's dangerous. He wants to argue, wants to say he'll just go back to being invisible. But he's not stupid. DeShawn got transferred because of him. Because someone noticed. The math is simple. Marcus reaches into his bag, pulls out a folder, slides it across the desk. This is your file. Everything the state has on you. I think you should read it. The folder is thin. Depressing how a whole life fits in 20 pages. Take your time, Marcus says, standing. I'll be back this afternoon. We'll talk about next steps. He leaves. The door stays open. The folder sits on the desk like a test. He doesn't want to open it. Already knows most of what's inside. Failed placements. Behavioral notes. Medical records that say mute without explaining why. But he opens it anyway. The first page is the fire station report. 6-month-old male. No identifying marks. No note. Wrapped in a blue blanket. Responding officers noted the baby was clean, well-fed, recently changed. Whoever left him cared enough to make sure he was comfortable. Then why leave him at all? He flips through. Foster placement 1. Family with 3 bio kids who couldn't handle a baby who wouldn't cry. Placement 2. Single mom who needed the stipend, didn't have time for special needs. Placement 3, 4, 5, all variations on the same theme. Then a note dated when he was 7. Child remains nonverbal despite speech therapy. Recommend psychological evaluation. The evaluation report is clinical, detached. Selective mutism likely trauma-based. Patient unresponsive to standard intervention. Prognosis uncertain. No mention of what caused the trauma, just the effect. He keeps reading. Group home placements. School transfers. A disciplinary note from when he was 12 for fighting, defending a smaller kid from bullies, but that detail didn't make it into the official record. At the bottom, a genetic test result. Dated 6 months ago. Someone ordered a DNA panel. Why? Who authorized it? The results show markers matching the Crown family database. Someone knew before he did. Someone was looking for him. The door opens again. Not Marcus this time. Oryx leans against the frame, arms crossed, expression unreadable. Interesting reading? He closes the folder. Doesn't answer. I'll take that as a yes. Oryx steps inside. Unlike Thane's controlled energy or Mailer's cold calculation, Oryx moves like water. Smooth. Deceptive. Thane likes to think he's being kind, letting you acclimate. But I think you deserve the truth. Which truth? There seem to be several. The DNA test wasn't random, Oryx says. We've been monitoring the foster system for years, looking for genetic flags. You pinged the system 2 years ago after a routine blood test. He pauses. We've been watching you since then. 2 years. All the weird coincidences. The group home transfer that actually improved his situation. The caseworker who suddenly started caring. The scholarship offer for the vocational program he never applied for. All of it. Manipulated. Don't look so betrayed, Oryx says. We were protecting you. Quietly. From a distance. It worked until you had to go and be decent to a traumatized kid. His hands shake. He presses them flat on the desk. Here's what Thane won't tell you, Oryx continues. You're not just leverage. You're an heir. Distant but legitimate. If something happened to the 3 of us, you'd inherit everything. The room tilts, which means people who want to hurt us have 2 options. Kill you, or control you. Oryx's smile is sharp. Guess which one is more useful. He types with trembling fingers. So I'm trapped here forever? Not forever. Just until we eliminate the threats. Oryx shrugs. Could be months. Could be years. Depends on how motivated our enemies are. Years. The word echoes. Years in this building. This room. This cage with an open door. But here's the thing, Oryx says, voice dropping. Thane wants to train you. Make you useful. Give you purpose. But I think that's cruel. You didn't ask for this. You shouldn't have to become someone new just to survive. Then what? He types. Oryx leans close. I can get you out. Tonight. New identity. New city. You'd have to cut ties with everyone. DeShawn included. But you'd be free. The offer hangs there. Tempting. Terrible. Think about it, Oryx says. But decide fast. Thane's getting attached. Mailer's getting paranoid. The window for clean exits is closing. He straightens. Heads for the door. Pauses. Oh, and one more thing. That proposal you're probably thinking about? The one where you think you can negotiate better terms. He looks back. Won't work. This isn't a negotiation. It's a rescue. We're just letting you believe you have choices. The door closes. He sits in the silence. The folder's still open. The genetic markers staring up at him. His phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number. The rain stopped. The path is clear. Bring nothing. Midnight. Courtyard door. He stares at it. Oryx's offer. Concrete now. Real. Freedom. At the cost of everything he's ever known. Another buzz. Or stay. Become what they need. Lose yourself slower. His thumb hovers over delete. But he doesn't press it. Because somewhere in this building, Thane is planning his future. Marcus is scheduling tutors. Renata is probably preparing dinner. And in a facility across the state, DeShawn is trying to sleep in an unfamiliar bed. All of it connected to him. All of it at risk because of him. The phone screen goes dark. His reflection stares back. And for the first time, he understands what Thane meant. This isn't about power. It's about responsibility. The question is, does he want it? Outside, storm clouds gather. The courtyard lights flicker. Midnight is 6 hours away. What would you choose? A lifetime of safety in a cage you can't see? Or one moment of freedom you'll spend the rest of your life running to protect? The grant announcement comes on a Tuesday. Briarcliff Center receives $200,000 from an anonymous donor. Enough to hire 3 new staff members, renovate the rec room, and fund therapeutic programs for the next 2 years. The local news covers it. Small story, bottom of the broadcast, but it's there. He watches from the common room in the crowned building, tablet propped on his knees. The director of Briarcliff smiles into the camera, talks about second chances and community support. Never mentions that kids like DeShawn are already gone. Already relocated to places the grants can't reach. Thane enters without knocking. You saw it. Not a question. He nods anyway. Mailer approved the funding last night. Anonymously, of course. Thane sits in the chair across from him. He thinks it'll keep people from asking questions about the transfers. Hush money dressed up as charity. He sets the tablet aside. You're angry, Thane observes. Of course he's angry. Kids are being moved like furniture, and the solution is throwing money at the problem. It doesn't fix anything, just makes it quieter. Thane leans forward, elbows on knees. I know it's not ideal, but it's something. Those programs will help other kids. Kids who aren't connected to us. Other kids. The ones who don't carry dangerous blood. The ones who get to stay visible. His phone is already in his hand. He types. When does it stop? Thane reads it. His jaw tightens. I don't know. Honestly, this has been going on since before we were born. Then break it. How? Thane's voice rises slightly. We can't dismantle the whole system overnight. Why not? The question sits there. Simple. Impossible. Thane stands. Walks to the window. Outside, a car pulls up. Black sedan, government plates. 2 people exit. A woman in a business suit and a man carrying a briefcase. State inspector, Thane says quietly. They have to verify your placement is appropriate. He glances back. Oryx will handle it. The woman's hand finds the center of his back. Not shoving. Just insistent pressure through expensive fabric. They walk through corridors in silence. Down 2 floors. Past offices where people in expensive clothes make quiet phone calls. To a door at the end of a hall that's darker than the others. Thane knocks. Waits. Enter. The office inside is sparse. No personal items. Just a desk, 2 chairs, and walls lined with filing cabinets. Mailer sits behind the desk, reading something on his computer. He doesn't look up. Sit, he says. Thane leaves. The door clicks shut. Mailer finally looks at him. Those same green eyes, but colder. You've been here 2 weeks. Thane says you're adjusting well. He doesn't respond. I disagree. Mailer closes the laptop. You're compliant. That's not the same as adjusted. True. He's still waiting for the real cost to reveal itself. Smart, Mailer says. But I need you to understand something. Thane sees potential. Oryx sees a victim. I see a liability that needs managing. He pulls a folder from a drawer, slides it across. Open it. Inside are photographs. Recent ones. DeShawn at the new facility, playing in a courtyard, eating lunch, smiling. He's safe, Mailer says, because we're making sure of it. But that protection is conditional. His hands shake. On you staying put. On you cooperating. On you not becoming more trouble than you're worth. Mailer's expression doesn't change. Oryx offered you an exit. Midnight in the courtyard. I know because I told him to. The ground disappears. It was a test. You didn't run. Mailer almost smiles. Which means you understand what's at stake. The photos blur. He grips the desk edge. I'm not the enemy, Mailer says. I'm the one who makes hard choices so Thane can be kind. So Oryx can play savior. He leans back. The math says one difficult teenager is worth protecting if it prevents a war. He types, I want to see him. No. Why? Because every connection makes you weaker. Makes him a target. Mailer closes the folder. You want to protect him? Stay away. Have you ever realized the cage was built while you were watching? Subscribe and turn on notifications. Drop your thoughts in the comments. The first arrives at breakfast. Oryx carrying coffee like a peace offering. He sits across the table uninvited. Drink. It's good. The liquid smells expensive. He doesn't touch it. Oryx shrugs, drinks from his own cup. Mailer told me about yesterday. He grimaces. Don't take it personally. He threatens everyone he cares about. Footsteps in the hall. Thane enters, followed by a woman neither of them have seen before. She's older, 60s, with silver hair pulled tight and eyes that miss nothing. This is Lorraine, Thane says. Educational consultant. She'll be conducting your interview. Lorraine extends a hand. Her grip is firm. Pleasure. I've reviewed your transcripts. Quite the patchwork. 7 schools in 10 years. Hard to build continuity. We'll work with what we have. Lorraine continues. She pulls out a tablet. I understand you're nonverbal. That won't be a barrier. Oryx stands. We'll leave you to it. Thane lingers. If you need anything, we'll be fine, Lorraine interrupts. This works better without an audience. They leave. Lorraine sits. Let's start simple. What subjects interest you? He types. I don't know. Fair. What about things you're good at? Reading. Fiction or nonfiction? Both. Favorite book? He hesitates. Types. Where the red fern grows. Her expression softens. That's a good one. Sad though. Everything good is sad eventually. She reads it. Nods. Math. Terrible. She smiles. Here's what I'm thinking. Online curriculum. Self-paced. And we supplement with practical skills. Coding, maybe. Things that don't require verbal communication. It sounds reasonable. Almost normal. A knock interrupts. Mailer enters without waiting. Lorraine's demeanor shifts instantly. "We're in the middle of something," she says. "There's been a development." Mailer pulls out his phone. Shows them both the screen. News article. Local outlet. Headline reads, "Anonymous tip leads to foster care investigation." Below it, a photo. The Briarcliff Center. Yellow tape across the entrance. "Someone reported suspicious activity," Mailer says. "Allegations of favoritism. Unexplained funding. Missing children." Missing. The word twists. "They're not actually missing," Mailer clarifies. "But the transfers look suspicious. Investigators are asking questions." Lorraine crosses her arms. "Who reported it?" "Unknown. But the timing is interesting." Mailer looks directly at him. 2 weeks after you arrived. 3 days after the grant. Someone's watching. Someone knows." Thane appears in the doorway, breathless. "Mailer, we agreed to wait. Circumstances changed." "He's not ready. He doesn't have a choice." Mailer's voice cuts. "The investigation will eventually connect him to us. When that happens, he needs to be positioned correctly." Oryx squeezes past Thane. "Will someone explain what's happening?" Mailer exhales. "We're going public. Controlled release. Announce him as a distant relative being mentored. Frame it as charity work." The room tilts. "Absolutely not," Thane says. "That makes him a target. He's already a target. This way, we control the narrative." Lorraine holds up a hand. "Perhaps we should ask what he wants?" All 3 triplets look at him. Identical faces, different expectations. His phone feels heavy. He types. "What happens if I say no?" "We keep you hidden," Thane says immediately. Mailer's expression hardens. "There is no other way." "What happens to DeShawn?" The question silences them. Mailer recovers first. "The facility is secure. He's not involved. Yet." He types the word. Lets it sit. The argument escalates. Voices rising. Lorraine tries to mediate. He stands. Walks to the window. Looks out at the courtyard where Oryx offered him escape. His reflection stares back. Thin. Tired. Trapped. Maybe the only way out is through. He turns. Types. "I'll do it." The room goes quiet. Thane looks stricken. "You don't have to." "I know. But if it protects DeShawn, I will." Mailer nods once. "We'll schedule the press release for next week." When does protection become performance? Subscribe. The next chapter reveals what happens when the world learns his name. Share your thoughts below. The notebook appears on his bed. Brown leather, pages thick. No note. Just the book, and near the back, Thane's handwriting. Sometimes the only voice that matters is the one you write. He sits, stares at the blank page, then writes anyway. "My name is Kaine. Not the one the state gave me. The one I chose when I was 12. The letters feel wrong. Too permanent. I don't know what I'm supposed to be. Liability. Asset. All words that make me sound like property." His hand cramps. He switches the pen to his left. "DeShawn used to ask me why I didn't talk. How do you explain that words were taken from you so early you don't remember having them?" A knock. "Renata. Dinner in 20 minutes. He doesn't answer. The pen moves faster. Thane thinks he's saving me. Mailer thinks he's containing me. Oryx thinks I'm a problem with legs. They're all right. They're all wrong. The truth is simpler. I'm tired. Tired of being moved. Tired of being managed. Tired of watching other people suffer because I exist." He stops, reads what he wrote, then writes the part that matters. "If I do this, if I let them make me public, DeShawn stays safe. The other kids get their grants. The system gets slightly better for people who aren't me. That's the trade. My visibility for their peace." The door opens. Thane stands there taking in the scene. "Can I read it?" Kaine hesitates, then nods. Thane sits beside him, reads in silence. His expression shifts. Surprise, concern, something softer underneath. "You chose the name Kaine," Thane says finally. "Why?" He takes the notebook back. Writes, It means warrior. I liked the idea of being something strong. You are strong. Thane's voice is quiet, stronger than any of us realized. Kaine shakes his head. You are, Thane insists. You're choosing to protect people who can't protect themselves. That's courage. Courage feels like a lie. I need to tell you something, Thane says. He paces. The press release. It's not just about controlling the narrative. It's about claiming you. Officially. Legally. Claiming? Adoption. Formal. It'll make you untouchable. No more state oversight. You'd be ours. The word sits heavy. Ours. Like belonging. Like ownership. What if I don't want that? Thane stops. Then we find another way. But Kaine, this is the safest option. For you. For DeShawn. Safe. That word again. Kaine writes. What if I want to leave after? Then you leave. The adoption doesn't trap you. Protects you. Thane pauses. I'm asking you to try. He writes one more sentence. I'll try. But if anything happens to DeShawn, the deal is off. Thane reads it. Nods. Fair. They sit in silence. The press conference is Friday, Thane says eventually. You don't have to speak. Just stand there. Stand there. Be seen. He nods anyway. Friday comes faster than he wants. The suit they give him fits perfectly. Kaine stares at himself in the mirror and sees a stranger. Downstairs, the triplets wait. All three dressed identically. They look like a unit. He looks like the mistake they're trying to hide. Ready? Thane asks. No. But he nods. The car ride is silent. 20 minutes to a hotel with marble floors and chandeliers. Staff everywhere setting up cameras. His stomach churns. Mailer briefs him. Stand to Thane's left. Don't smile. Don't react. Just exist. The doors open. Flash of cameras. Voices shouting questions. They take their positions. Thane speaks. Words Kaine doesn't process. The cameras focus on him. All those eyes. He keeps his face blank. Then someone shouts. Is it true he's connected to the Briarcliff investigation? Thane doesn't flinch. No comment on ongoing investigations. What about the missing children? They're not missing. They've been relocated. Next question. Questions keep coming. Kaine's pulse hammers. Then he sees her. Back of the room. A woman with a camera. Not press. Something else. She's staring at him. Not curious. Knowing. Their eyes meet. She lifts her phone. Takes a photo. And smiles. Cold. Calculated. Hunting. Someone found him. What happens when protection becomes the target? Subscribe. Chapter 9 reveals who's watching. Comment. Who do you think she is? The photo hits the internet before they leave. By the time they're in the car, it's everywhere. Mailer's phone won't stop buzzing. His jaw tightens with each notification. Talk, Thane demands. The woman. Professional photographer. Freelance. Mailer shows the screen. The photo is clear. Kaine's face, mid-panic. Caption reads. Crowned family's secret weapon? Weapon, Oryx mutters. That's not ominous. Thane's knuckles go white. Who hired her? Working on it. But the damage is done. He's tagged. Identified. They pull into the underground garage. Security everywhere. Lockdown protocol, Mailer says. Until we identify the threat. Inside, Renata waits with someone new. Tall woman, military posture. Head of security. Simone. New protocols starting immediately, Simone says. No outside communication. No internet. Monitored movements. Kaine's phone is confiscated. Temporary, Thane promises. Just until we're sure. They escort him upstairs. Not to his room. Different floor. Smaller room. No windows. A safe room. You won't need 3 days, Oryx says. We'll have answers by morning. They leave. Door locks like a vault ceiling. Hours pass. His body knows when it's night. The lock disengages. Thane enters alone, carrying food. Thought you might be hungry. Kaine doesn't move. Thane sets the tray down. We found her. The photographer. And who hired her? He waits. Journalist. Investigative. She's been tracking our family for years. Looking for weaknesses. Thane sits. She thinks you're a story. Proof of illegal adoption. Money laundering. The words land heavy. Story. Like he's content. We're handling it. Legal team. But Kaine. She's not going to stop. So what now? Now we decide. Together. Thane pulls out a tablet. Shows him 3 options. Option 1. Increased security. Lockdown extended. Legal battle. Months. Option 2. Public statement. Controlled interview. His story, his words. Option 3. Relocation. Different city. Different identity. Start over. Kaine reads them twice. He points to option 2. Thane's eyebrows raise. You want to talk? Publicly? Not talk, right? But, yes. Types on the tablet. On one condition. I pick the journalist. Who? Someone who cares about foster kids more than headlines. Thane considers. I'll find them. 24 hours. He writes through the night. Everything. The group home. DeShawn. The transfers. The truth underneath the press release. By morning, 12 pages. Raw. Honest. Dangerous. Renata brings breakfast and news. Thane found someone. Trinity. From Briarcliff. She blogs about the system. Trinity. The staff member who let him say goodbye. He nods. Yes. The interview happens in the safe room. Camera, recorder, Trinity sitting cross-legged across from him. She reads his notebook. Doesn't interrupt. This is good, she says finally. Important. But you know what happens when you publish this? He types. People get angry. People get defensive. The system protects itself. You'll become a target. I'm already a target. Trinity smiles sad. Fair. She sets up the camera. Ready. He hands her the notebook. She reads it aloud. Every word. Every truth. When she finishes, she asks, what do you want people to know? He writes, that invisible kids are still kids. That silence doesn't mean consent. That protection without choice is just control with better marketing. Trinity reads it to the camera. Stops recording. This goes live tomorrow. After that, everything changes. He knows. That night, Thane brings news. The journalist backed off, threatened with lawsuits. But Kaine, Trinity's article will undo that. Good. Good. Thane looks confused. Kaine writes, if I'm going to be visible anyway, might as well make it count. You're using the attention to expose the system. Yes, that's going to make powerful people unhappy. I know. It might not be safe here. Then I'll leave. But I'm done being quiet. Thane stares at him. Something shifts. Respect. All right, then we do this together. He extends his hand. Kaine takes it. The article publishes at dawn. By noon, phone lines jammed. By evening, 3 news stations request interviews. By midnight, someone throws a brick through the window. Message attached. Stop talking. Kaine reads it. Writes in his notebook. I'm just getting started. When silence is the price of safety, speaking becomes war. Subscribe for the final chapter. Comment. Would you risk everything for truth? The ring comes back 6 months later. Silver band, tissue paper delivered to a P.O. box he checks weekly. No note. Just the ring and a newspaper clipping. Headline. Statewide foster reform bill passes unanimously. He sits in his apartment small, his temporary but stable, and reads twice. New oversight. Trauma-informed training. Transfer limits. Funding tied to outcomes. All the things Trinity's article demanded. All the things his testimony pushed forward. Anonymous donors funded the lobbying. The sponsor won't name them. But Kaine knows. He's seen enough crowned moves to recognize the pattern. 3 signatures at the donation receipt bottom. Thane, Oryx, Mailer, and beside them 1 line blank. Reserved for the 4th name not official yet. He puts the ring on. Still fits. Phone buzzes. Thane, saw the news. Proud of you. Kaine doesn't respond immediately. just sits with it. Pride from someone who tried to cage him, who let him go when staying became impossible. The interview fallout was nuclear. Investigations launched. Administrators resigned. Agencies overhauled. And Kaine suddenly too visible to contain. Mailer called it strategic disaster. Oryx called it beautiful chaos. Thane called it necessary. They let him leave. Gave him money, resources, connections. Set him up 3 states away where no one knows the crown name. Where he can finish school without bodyguards. DeShawn. Still safe. Still monitored. But now in a facility with new protections Kaine's testimony created. Turning 7 next month. Kaine already bought the present. Another elephant. He texts, "Thanks. How's the fallout?" Thane, "Manageable. We're fine. You sure?" Thane, "Are you?" Kaine looks around. Small. Clean. His scholarship letter on the fridge. Job interview tomorrow at a youth center. Types, "Getting there. Good. The offer still stands. You're always welcome." Kaine knows. Adoption papers ready whenever. Name change. Legal protection. Family. But he's not ready. Maybe never. He puts the ring back in the box. Saves the clipping. Adds both to the drawer. The notebook. DeShawn photos. Trinity's article. Evidence that he existed. That he mattered. The bill isn't perfect. Systems don't fix overnight. But kids like DeShawn have better odds. Less shuffling. More hearing. Worth the cost. Laptop chimes. Email from Trinity. Subject, "You need to see this." Attached video. Senate hearing. A teenager, 17, reading a statement about foster care. About being moved. Silenced. About finding Kaine's interview and realizing she wasn't alone. She's one of 20 who testified. 20 voices that found courage because one mute kid decided silence wasn't safety. Kaine watches twice. Forwards to Thane. Progress. Thane, "Because of you. No, because of all of us." Outside, the city hums. Anonymous. Safe. Kaine stands at the window. Sees his reflection. Still thin. Still quiet. But different now. He opens his notebook. New one, brown leather. Writes the date. Then. Some love is shelter. Some is sacrifice. Some is knowing when to let go. The Crown family gave him all 3. Trapped him. Freed him. Let him choose. He's still choosing. Every day. Choosing visibility over safety. Truth over comfort. Voice written persistent his over silence. The ring stays in the drawer. Not rejected. Waiting. For when family doesn't mean obligation. When protection doesn't cost freedom. That day might come. Might not. Either way, Kaine will be ready. Phone buzzes. Unknown number. A photo. DeShawn. Holding the new elephant. Smiling wide. Missing a tooth. Below. "Thank you for not forgetting me." Kaine's throat tightens. He saves the photo. Sends. Never. Because that's the real moral. Love isn't measured by proximity. It's measured by what you're willing to protect from a distance. Even when it costs everything. Some victories look like loss. Some love looks like leaving. Some family is built by choosing when to walk away. Kaine chose all 3. And survived to tell about it. Not out loud. Never that. But in notebooks. Interviews. Testimonies that ripple outward. Changing policy. Saving kids. That's power. Not the kind from money or blood. The kind from refusing to stay invisible. Outside, storm clouds gather. Inside, Kaine prepares for tomorrow. School. Work. Life. Finally, the bravest choice is sometimes the one that leaves you unseen. Until being seen is worth the cost. Subscribe for more stories that challenge what family means. Share your story in the comments. Turn on notifications. The next story drops soon. And it might change everything.